Okay, so I'm here in Weatherford right now with Brandon Johnson, Hunter Youngblood. And what brought you two men here today?
Rustin Wright.
Rustin Wright and his son, Steven. So, how long have you known Rustin?
I've known him for about 5 years now.
Okay, and Hunter, how about you?
Rustin since 2015, so about 6 years.
Yeah. So, as far as a father, what are your thoughts about Rustin as a father?
I think he's a great dad. I think that he's fighting for it, and I think that he's showing it today, and that's why we're going to support it. I really do think that he should do Rustin.
Right. And well, how about you? Same thing?
Same thing.
Yeah. I met Rustin. I think somehow Brandon, you introduced me to him, just like you didn't introduce me to you, Hunter. So there's a lot of things that we didn't.
Well, I met Hunter or Rustin and Hunter and you in 2017 at the Capitol.
Right.
And Rustin's been an inspiration to me because Hunter and Stuart McMullen that you just spoke to.
Right.
Because these guys, this core group of guys, and there's others, but I mean, those of us that showed up today,
Right.
have stuck with the fight. And, I really applaud Rustin for that.
Yeah.
And, that's why I showed up today, because I know his dedication, not just to him and his son, but to the larger problem that we face in his courthouse.
So, Brandon, today you were in there and you saw that there were a number of people supporting Rustin, more than in the past, perhaps. Did that have any influence, do you think, on what was going on inside that courtroom?
I definitely felt a shift in the dynamic.
Yeah, like all of a sudden, now we have to be careful because we're being watched, or something like that. I mean, altogether, I counted up to a dozen people at one time, and a couple of people had to take off and then get back to Houston. But there were a dozen people who were supporting Rustin. And you guys know what it's like to be in court and to not be supported, right?
It's a lonely feeling.
It's a very lonely feeling. So I was saying on the way out here that friends never let friends go to family or, as I say, anti-family court alone. So your thoughts about that?
I agree with that. And if you have just a friend or a family member that's going through it, you need to support them. They are family court stepping up. It's a little bit better. I can see the dynamics change today with Rustin. It's a little bit better when they know that they're being watched.
Yeah. So in other words, what you're saying is if they're not being watched, it could either be like a star chamber or they may try to do things that would not actually be right. Do I hear you saying that correctly?
100%. Today there were 3 people that I know had hearings, and I had to.
Seriously?
I couldn't find a 3-headed coin, so
Yeah.
I picked Rustin. He's been in this thing for a long time now. Another gentleman, he was at my house.
Yeah.
He came in and he had to have some internet service and stuff, and I said, look, you're on your own, but I did everything I could. I swiped with the printer and play stay last night. And then another gentleman was actually from Smith County, where Hunter comes from.
Right.
And he was able to get his judge recused based on what I had learned on recusals.
Right.
This gentleman has been to jail twice in the last 6 months for 30 days each time, and they were looking to lock him up for another 30 days, if
Right.
not 6 months.
Right.
And it was based on exactly what we saw across the street in Quisenberry's court. They want attorney fees. Now they didn't touch on it today, but Charleston.
Right.
And that's what that gentleman has been facing.
Right.
But whenever I walk him through the process, because I've learned the process of recusing judges, and it's trial and error. And so we each learn from someone else.
Right.
And so, there was talk earlier about what do we do about this? And it's kind of like storming up Normandy Bay, right?
Yeah.
On D-Day. You're dying knowing you're getting a little further than the guy behind you.
Right.
And I would say, if I had one thing to say today, I would say that's the way we gotta view this. Is you're the guy laying down your life for your brother coming behind you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the father coming behind you.
So going into a court like this, do you have any feelings of intimidation or fear, or I mean, how do you feel going into a court like this?
Like, how do I feel like personally, or what do you think? Like if I were personally.
Well, in either case.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think going into court like this, yeah, it is intimidation. I would say Quisenberry and the amicus, they looked like they were teamed up, and you can tell by the eye contact that they were friends. And it is a lot of intimidation, but I think Ben and Rustin did a good job fighting back that.
Yeah.
And definitely the dynamics in there are just. I can just see now the amicus just wants to remove himself totally.
Yeah.
He wants no part of this case.
Yeah, yeah. So what are your thoughts about having cameras in the courtroom? Would that help?
The reality is, cameras and microphones are already in the courtroom.
Well, they are. That is true.
But you see them hanging from the ceiling. Now, I preface that on what he's going to say. I'm assuming you're going to say, and what Jeff's premise is on asking the question. Just like we've seen a big shift in these Zoom hearings through the coronavirus, we have to have these courtrooms open at all times, just like the legislature.
Yeah,
Right.
if they know they're being watched, they're going to behave differently
Yeah.
in the story.
Yeah. So I know you were in there in the courtroom. There was a specific time that the judge kind of like almost stopped and glared at an individual.
Glaring at you.
So, you remember what that was about?
I
knew he was doing it,
I
but
mean, like when he stopped the process, and you were kind of looking down. I was sitting by Joe, but he stopped and he was glaring at you. You were taking notes, and he literally was staring. It was like it was awkward. There was at least 2 to 3 minutes of just a stare at Joe.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know why or what, but maybe you had laughed out loud or something.
It got so uncomfortable that Ben Beveridge turns around and he's like,
Who's he
"Who
staring
is
at?"
he looking at?"
Yeah. Well, the funny thing was, I actually knew he was doing that. And I don't know how, but when he started to do it, when I was looking back down and I'm writing down what he's saying, and I kind of figured that was something that happened. So, I mean, I just tried to go wild like I kind of know.
Well, in all fairness, when Jeff is writing notes in court, he's not a school marm. He's like scribbling furiously.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah. How about going in today? I mean, I know going through the into the courtroom, they they went through everything that I had. I mean, they took out my keys and they're looking at this. I'm like, I could not believe it. Like they were afraid that perhaps we would be, I don't know, recording something, videotaping something. I have no idea. But I mean, first off, if you're transparent, what difference does it make? But I mean, did you feel any of that? Did they go through your stuff with a fine-tooth comb as well?
yeah, when I was walking in, I mean, she made me take everything out of my pockets.
Yeah.
Even checking through my umbrella.
Yeah.
Checking through. She made me put my wallet out. Look through my wallet.
Yeah.
And
I almost was wondering if you could do like an underwear search or something. I mean, it was pretty bad.
it was definitely awkward.
Well, and you know they were wanting to hide things. They wanted that thing as contained as possible.
Right.
And I thought that was very apparent whenever they did not want to give up the transcript to the
good point.
to Aiden Wright, the son, being interviewed in chambers by the judge.
Yeah. So discuss that a little bit more, because Ben was asking for the transcript of the interview, which it took almost 10 months to get him the interview, but then they wouldn't even let Aiden see
The judge was saying, why do you want that, or why do you need it? Well, why don't we do it?
Why don't you do it?
Yeah, so it's like, what are they trying to hide here?
Yeah.
We all know that Aiden wants to live with Rustin. I mean, even the amicus said that plenty of times. We all know that Aiden wants to live with Rustin. He shouldn't have a voice. He's old enough to have a voice.
Right.
And he should be able to live with Rustin. But the main thing is, what are they hiding in the chamber?
What are they hiding?
On that transcript.
Right.